And we can talk about the new screens and the audio systems and all these things, but I think that point is really important, Dad. All that is irrelevant to a lot of Blues fans and the fan base until we get a winning team on the pitch, and that's the most important thing.
So welcome back to Smallheath Alliance FC. And I don't think you can argue that the owners are investing an awful lot of money in the current stadium and facilities around Birmingham City, the training ground. And it really is a staggering amount of money considering that they have plans at some point in the future to build a brand new stadium. But of course, as a football fan, that is likely to have the impact that it will cost us more money. And that's what we're going to discuss in this video, is what we think the impact will be on the investment that Knighthead are making. And I'm going to go straight over to Matt and think, well, what's your thoughts, Matt? I mean, obviously they're spending a lot of money. How do you think that's going to impact on us fans?
Well, this is the perfect definition of a double-edged sword, isn't it? You don't get £15 million worth of investment without some sort of payback. And it is inevitably going to fall onto the fans at some point. And the season tickets is a perfect case in point. You know, we've seen some rises, we've seen some reductions, and we've seen some unfortunate relocations and hospitality areas expanded. So that is literally a prime example of us being ran by a hedge fund. You know, Knighthead are a hedge fund. They're here to make money. These decisions are, you know, with money. With their interest. But, you know, when you think about £15 million, you think about new screens, new audio system, fan zones, the bar that's going to stretch the entire, pretty much the length of the Kop, safety in the better parking areas, all these different things that they're doing. For me, I know me and you can only talk about the Upper Tilton because that's where we sit. We can't really comment on the hospitality or the other areas because that wouldn't be fair. We don't sit there. But I think £10 rise, don't get me wrong, I know times are hard, families are struggling, and that could make or break some people. We're fortunate enough to afford it. And for me, I think a £10 rise or a £20 rise is justifiable for the amount that they're putting into the stadium and what they're trying to do to enhance that matchday experience.
Of course, Matt, £15 million is what they're spending this summer. They've already spent millions already on what they've already done. So there's a lot of money being ploughed into this club. And I think we have to realise as football fans, and I think Birmingham City supporters will know this, is that you know that they're not investing that money for any reason but to make more money because, as you said, they're business people. They're here to make money, and I think a lot of Blues fans will feel that we don't want to be one of those clubs that outprice the fans and all this type of thing. But the reality now of modern football is that it is a very corporate world. You know, I still see Birmingham City as a very traditional club.
But they do need to be careful. And as we're talking about ticket prices, we'll get this one. So we'll move on to the more exciting things in a minute. But the ticket prices are in the media at the moment. They have just been released. We can only renew them at the time of recording tomorrow. So I hope that Knighthead appreciate the kind of club that they brought, coming back to that with the roots of the club. And just to reference it, Dad, I saw a tragic story on X the other day, and it was a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan, and he's been going down Wolves with his own dad for years, season ticket holders together, and then his dad's passed away, and he's now continued it with his own son. And in the rise of Wolves, they've obviously done very well in the past 10 years. They have gone from League One to Championship back up into the Premier League. They've gone from paying £500 to this season, it was £1,250 for the pair of them, and they can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, that is heartbreaking. If me and you, Dad, were to lose our season tickets because we genuinely couldn't afford it, and I'm not going to talk personally about our finances, but it would hit a point where me and you wouldn't pay for season tickets anymore. What a tragic day that would be.
I think everybody's got a limit. Everybody's got, you know, a threshold in terms of what they can and what they can't afford. I think that's what the club, as you point out, need to be aware of. But also as well, there's a reality is that, you know, we could go on watching a mediocre team for the next 10, 15, 20 years, paying round about the same price for our season tickets now and go and watch the same thing. But if you're yearning and really want a successful team, I think the harsh reality is that you are probably going to have to expect to pay a bit more. And that's just me being honest. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm like anybody else. If there's a bargain out there, I'll go and get it. But you know, football now has moved to a place where to be successful, then the clubs are going to have to generate revenue. And one of those revenue streams is going to be ticket prices.
Of course it is, yeah.
But I just hope they do it in a sensitive way. I mean, I think they've been fairly conservative with these current season ticket prices because there are areas within the ground that they've reduced as well.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
I
they
think
have.
if you balance it out, I don't think there's going to be a massive difference in the income of the club from because they've increased some areas and decreased others, and are offering discounts and other deals in certain parts as well. So I don't think there's any real major net gain for the club this season. But what we don't want, you pointed out a really good point, we don't want to happen what's happened at Wolverhampton Wanderers. We think, okay, we've got promoted to the Championship, we'll add 50 quid on. We got promoted to the Premier League, let's add another 50 on. Before you know it, what was a £400 ticket, you're now paying £700, £800, 900 for. You're doubling the prices. So I think there has to be a bit of sensitivity around that. But I want a successful team, and I don't personally mind paying a bit extra, but I appreciate that there are people out there that can't, and they're the ones that I sympathise with because they want to come and watch the Blues, but that they might get priced out of it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you know, when you look at some of the Premier League clubs, the bigger Premier League clubs, I think your Tottenhams, is their average season ticket price close to £1,000 or something?
I think
Absolutely
some of the
ludicrous.
Premier League clubs are ridiculous, Matt.
I mean, Tottenham are outside. Sorry, I think they are the highest revenue grossing club in the Premier League. It's absolutely incredible what they do. I don't know whether that's off the back of. I mean, revenue is a massive term, isn't it? It covers a lot, revenue. But I don't know whether that's shirt sales combined with season tickets, all the different elements. But when you're charging £1,000 a season ticket, it's not hard to see why their revenue is so high. But that's exactly where I don't want Birmingham to go.
Yeah.
And I must admit, when we had the open house a couple of months back, Dad, and Wagner did say that raising ticket prices isn't the most economically viable way to raise revenue. He wants to do it in other ways, better catering,
Well,
better.
that's what I want to talk about, Matt. Actually, because this podcast really is about the fact that the investment is going to cost us. And I don't think we can be naive enough to think that that they're not going to expect something more from us. I mean, actually, a lot of the things I want to just go through now. I did a bit of research on this because I wanted to look at what a successful team does in relation to generating revenue, because there's lots of good examples out there. So I've got a few examples I want to go through with you just to show you what the other clubs are doing. But when I go through these, and you could do the same, Birmingham City supporters, just listen to what the other clubs are doing and what we're doing now, and how similar that Knighthead are lining us up to do what these clubs are doing. So we're looking at diverse revenue streams, as you mentioned, that Tom Wagner said that that's what we need to do to survive, not to thrive as a club, not to survive. The first one, the obvious one, is match day revenue. But then it isn't just about the ticket price. So what are Birmingham City doing? They're encouraging fans to be in and around the stadium much earlier by introducing fan zones. That means that the fans will spend the money with the club, bars, restaurants,
new catering companies coming in this year.
Yeah. So and also the hospitality areas as well. So the commercial revenue will increase because of hospitality as well. So they're generating extra income because of that as well.
They're doing club shop improvements as well. Again, attracting more people in, buying shirts, buying merchandise. Another big hit on the revenue.
Well, they're reorientating the club shop, the current one, so that the entrance is going to be on the car park.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
So therefore, the fans then, when they're in the ground, can get a direct route, because before now you have to come out of the ground through the gates by the car park and then walk up the road. Now that's going to change. So that's another way of generating income. Clearly, as well, another income stream is broadcasting rights, but that is going to reduce because although there's going to be more money in League One than there has been previous seasons, but I don't think it's at the levels of the Championship. So another way that clubs generate revenue is through commercial partnerships and sponsorships. Now we've seen the shirt sponsor Undefeated, but the club are out there looking for further sponsorships, and the fact that they've installed these big screens on the stadium as well is going to generate advertising space. Yeah, that's going to be worth quite a lot of money as well.
I just want to, because you've picked up on Undefeated, I want to reference that. That's a Los Angeles streetwear brand. So there's people walking around LA, there's people walking around New York who are wearing Birmingham City Undefeated, not having a clue what they're wearing or what they're representing, but because it's part of the Undefeated brand, they're buying the merchandise. So again, that's a very smart move from Knighthead, because it takes it out of Birmingham and actually makes it a cool merchandise to buy.
Well, my next thing is merchandising. Okay. So that's another revenue stream for the club. So obviously the kits are always a big part of that, and so that the new kits will be officially, I presume, presented or released soon. That's going to be a thing.
Well, at the time of recording, which is the 12th, it's being released tomorrow, which is the 13th. So it'll probably be going out when this goes. This will be on Friday. So, but yeah, it's going out on the 13th of this month.
Oh, okay. So by the time that this goes out, then the kits probably, but it hasn't been at the time of recording, as you mentioned as well. And then there's digital revenue, so that the club can monetize their digital content, and they're talking about impressions, and they've been big and not been concerned about telling us that as well. So there's lots of different ways in which the club can generate revenue in addition to the match day ticket costs and all those type of things. Some of that will come from the fans because obviously if we're going to the ground early to spend more money, but we go out anyway, Matt. We go on a match day. Me and you are usually in Digbeth or in town having something to eat and a drink.
Yeah.
Then we go to the ground. But if
we like to get there early, don't we, and soak up the atmosphere.
But if the offering now with the new catering is better, I think we'd be tempted to probably go to the ground.
I was going to say, just to put it out there, the only reason why we go into Digbeth or the Boring is because the catering at the moment or last season has been so bad. You're paying for a burger and chips in the actual stadium, which is going to taste awful.
Yeah.
And you can go to Digbeth and have a pint for £5. In the stadium it's £6, and it's from the tap. It's really good quality. So this is exactly what we're talking about. If you can get me and you from Digbeth into the stadium, it's automatically revenue in Knighthead's pocket, the club's pocket, which helps then get us better players. It adds to the whole revenue of the club. And we will do. We've said this, haven't we, Dad? We've said the amount of times next season, if the catering's improved, if the beer's improved, we'll get the training and we'll stroll to the stadium, not into Digbeth, and actually enjoy the matchday experience at the stadium.
And that'd be great as well because we'll be around fans as well. So we're all together. And there's nothing like a group of Birmingham City supporters together. So that's brilliant. So I think they're trying to encourage us all to do that, and that's good. Another way of generating revenue, like you mentioned, that the undefeated, people wearing the shirts in Los Angeles and New York and all that, it's brand recognition as well. Birmingham City is a brand.
Yeah.
So that brand, gets recognised, and then it will start to generate revenue because people will buy shirts and merchandise and stuff like that.
Look at the Beckhams; they're brands as well as their name carries that much weight. They're powerful, and that's what Knighthead want to do with Birmingham City.
Yeah, exactly. Another way as well is fan engagement as well. I mean, something like this podcast, we got a good following now of Birmingham City supporters. So if the club are doing things well and we're mentioning it on us and other YouTube channels and other media as well, that's positive as well, and that might encourage people to go to games or do things as well. So if we can report positive stories from Birmingham City, I mean, we're bluntly honest, as you know, people who watch this channel. So if something's not right, we will say so. But we also like to say when things are positive as well.
I think we're a glass half full channel. I think I've been criticised sometimes for being overly positive. That's just my nature. That's fine. But if something's happening and we're not happy with it, we'll call it out. We said it was a mistake to bring Rooney and all these. We're happy to call out the mistakes.
Yeah,
have to. It's like politicians. You have to hold them to account.
Yeah, exactly. And the biggest thing I think in terms of revenue income is, and because everything is this thing I'm going to say now underpins absolutely everything, and that is a successful team.
Of course, it is.
Because without a successful team, you're going to get less people at the ground. You're going to less people spending money, less people buying shirts. You're going to get a disenchanted fan base, and it just leads this downward spiral. In fact, that we've had for a number of years. So that's something that they're working on at the moment.
Even the fact that we're having this conversation, Dad, and I had no idea what you prepared. We do this deliberately. We don't ever discuss previous to recording, do we? The fact that you've just referenced all these things, it just shows how not insignificant, but actually ticket sales and ticket prices are a pretty small part of this picture. The pie, isn't it? They're very important, don't get me wrong. And a winning team will raise and get the money because bums on seats will get regular sellouts, all these different things. But when you include streetwear from LA, when you include all the catering, all these different things, actually they're the big things that are going to bring Knighthead the money in.
I think as well, I'm going to make a prediction here, and this is a pretty bold prediction, and this is from what I've been hearing on social media and the positive vibe now since the appointment of the manager. My prediction is, and I've got no basis apart from the positiveness, is that I believe we'll break our season ticket record.
Really?
That's what I think will happen this season.
Do you know what the record is?
No, I don't know. I don't know what the record is. But, no, I can't say that. Because obviously when we was in the Premier League, we sold that. What I mean is
from recent years.
From recent years. So we'll definitely sell more season tickets, I believe, than last year. Because I've been looking at social media. There's loads of people saying, I want to buy a season ticket for the first time. I'm not just talking about isolated. I'm talking about lots of people. So
there's a guy who comments regularly. I think his name's Robbie Michaels. Shout out to Robbie Michaels if he's watching. And he said he's going to get a season ticket this year for the first time in 5 years. So again, I think people are realising the appointment of the manager. They're seeing the positivity around the club, and they're actually going, I want to be involved in this. Because it's almost like get on the train or off the tracks before it starts. Like if you want, you need to get in now, don't you? Otherwise, tickets are going to get harder to get. The away tickets. I mean, no matter what division we're in, away tickets at Birmingham City are notoriously, our away support's absolutely incredible. But my point in referencing all these things is it's almost like a getting now thing, isn't it?
I think that's
it's
what
almost too
I think that's
difficult
what
and too
people are
late.
thinking. They want to be part of this, and if you get your season ticket, you're guaranteed your seat,
Yeah.
so you don't have to worry, do you? And I just think from what I've been seeing and the vibe, the positive vibe, I really believe that we might not break the record in terms of season tickets ever, but we'll sell more season tickets this
brilliant.
season than last season, and I think there's going to be a good season ticket
Yeah.
sales.
I actually think we'll see a much more packed lower Tilton because of the prices going down there as well. So
And the fact is as well, the lower Tilton's open,
Yeah.
and so is the Cop. That didn't happen until after Christmas because that's closed for 2.5 years. How embarrassing is that? But it's back and fixed now. Also, as well, just a few final points for me as well. That I think that in terms of revenue, income, and the way the club now, everything I've said so far aligns. These are what big clubs do. We're doing that. It talks also about things like good budget control and cost management. So I'm pretty sure we got a load of really high profile financial people.
They seem financially savvy, don't they?
Yeah, transparency and governance. Good communication as well, and we've had that from Tom Wagner and Gary Cook and the board. They're visible in the club. I think that was one of the criticisms of the previous owners. It was faceless owners. People had the masks on, didn't they, as well? Investment in infrastructure and technology. I believe that they're putting new Wi-Fi in there. There's a new sound system going in. So I'm really excited about going back to the ground.
The sound system's blooming awful. I can't wait for that to get upgraded.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's been done.
Oh,
I think it's already been done from what I've heard. And just final thing as well, it's about the community and social responsibility as well, about the club's impact in the wider city. And our club is definitely doing that, and they've got plans for wider social responsibility as well. So all of these things, putting them together, it's not just about the revenue in terms of the ticket sales. Everything there will increase our revenue and make us a successful club.
I just want to pick up on your last point because I think it's a powerful one about the city, about the communities and stuff. And I've seen several pictures of Wagner when he's in the UK, when he's in Birmingham, going to schools, going to communities, going to different areas. I saw one with him and Tom Brady. They were in a school talking to young kids.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I've seen Blues players, Langello, Laird's very famous for doing it. They'll go to local schools and give boots and give kits and give tops and give the kids a little bit of a motivational speech about what it means to become a footballer or be part of the city, be part of the culture, be part of the community. I don't think that can be understated, how important that is, and how not how good it looks for appearances, but how good it genuinely is from the owners to actually, because Wagner's a billionaire, private jet flying. He doesn't necessarily need to go. He could send an assistant there, or he could send a nice message video link. He actually went to the schools in person and spent the time with the children. And that to me makes a real big point to the kind of owners and ethical values they have.
Yeah, and you feel like the owners do feel part. They get the feeling of what it means to Birmingham City supporters, the club. And they've always been very, as I say, very visible, which I think has been really important for the fans because we've not had that for years. And everything that they're doing, as you can see from what I've read out, lines up. That research is what I did, is what the big successful clubs are doing to generate revenue, and that's what makes them successful. Yep. Our owners have lined us up to that model. So if all this comes off, which it looks like it's going to, that's been spending real money. I mean, that £15 million will be higher than most people's transfer budgets. So it's staggering what's happening. It's hard to believe.
And that's a good point. Most teams get relegated and they're laying staff off, they're selling players, they're reducing their wage bill, they're doing this and that. We're pumping 15 million into the stadium. We've got a transfer budget to spend on players coming up. We've got Tom Brady doing a lot of stuff in the background. We've just hired a really new, progressive young manager. It's almost like, could things go more perfect at the moment for this club? I mean, only time will tell with the transfer market, and I guess when we actually get our playing philosophy under Chris Davies and when we get moving, because as we've said, the most important thing is to have a winning team on the pitch. And we can talk about the new screens and the audio systems and all these things, but I think that point is really important, Dad. All that is irrelevant to a lot of Blues fans and the fan base until we get a winning team on the pitch, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to finish with as well. I think Blues fans, you know as well as I do that if we've got a winning team, we're going to want to go back to the ground every single game. And we're season ticket holders anyway, so we go regardless. But it will encourage more sellouts, and that in itself is going to have a positive impact on on everything else that we've spoken about. There'll be more people in the ground spending money, more people buying merchandise, etc., etc., etc. So it's exciting times at Birmingham City. But I think the reality is, and I think we have to be aware that this money's been invested in our club. There will be some payback for it, and there will be, part of that will be I think from the money that we will spend doing all these things that we've spoken about. But if the team's winning and we're successful, then it's going to make it much more enjoyable, I think, for all of us as fans. So anyway, what do you think, Birmingham City supporters? Let us know in the comments below. Always love your comments and love to hear what you have to say. And we obviously respond to the comments as quickly as we possibly can. If you did like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to check us out on our social media channels as well. You'll see the handles appearing on the screen now for our X channel and also for our Instagram page. So pop along there if you haven't done so already. And of course, if you've not subscribed to the channel before, make sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos all about Birmingham City. And myself and Matt will see you on the next video.